6 Johnny Carson guests who were too honest on TV unfolds as a reminder that America believed it knew Johnny Carson as the perfect host, the master of ceremonies, and the keeper of late-night decorum. A man whose stage was governed by unwritten rules that guests were expected to follow without question. Promote your project, tell a funny story, laugh at Johnny's jokes, and save anything truly messy for after the cameras stopped rolling. Yet some guests didn't simply cross that line. They erased it completely, turning a carefully sanitized world of network television, where even married couples slept in separate beds and bathroom humor barely rose above jokes about hairspray, into something raw, confessional, and deeply uncomfortable for 1970s America, moments that went far beyond cursing or risque jokes as these guests revealed intimate truths, confessed scandalous behavior, and named names so freely that Carson himself was often left scrambling for a commercial break, with former NBC executive Thomas Reynolds later explaining that Johnny's greatest skill was never getting people to talk, but knowing when to shut them up, a skill that failed when certain guests arrived ready to purge their souls on national television, not for shock value, but because they were sharing their actual lives. Consequences be damned, making their honesty infinitely more dangerous than simple provocation. As The Tonight Show became, by accident, a confessional booth, therapy session, and autobiography rolled into one, transforming light entertainment into raw truth once the emotional dams broke and real life came crashing into America's living rooms with no way to stop the flood. Shelley Winters embodied this dangerous candor more vividly than almost anyone, not merely as an Academy Award-winning actress, but as a walking Hollywood tell-all who treated Carson's couch like her personal confessional, long before kiss and tell memoirs were normalized, openly naming names, sharing intimate details, and confirming long-whispered rumors with a candor that sent network censors scrambling. As entertainment historian Margaret Collins noted when explaining that Winters openly admitted sleeping with much of Hollywood and never regretting it, a revelation shocking not only for its content, but because it came from a respected Oscar winner at a time when women were expected to maintain at least the appearance of modesty on network television, especially as Winters identified famous partners by name, turning gossip into confirmed history without concern for fallout. Even naming Marlon Brando on air, violating the industry's unwritten code of protecting reputations, and implicating others who preferred discretion, all while expressing no embarrassment or remorse, speaking with unapologetic satisfaction rather than confessional regret, famously quipping that while some stars acted, she acted up in their beds, a deliberate wordplay reflecting her comfort with her sexual history, as Carson's widened eyes, nervous laughter, and futile attempts to redirect the conversation became part of the spectacle, underscoring just how far she pushed television's boundaries by confessing rather than flirting, challenging gender double standards by claiming the same casual ownership of her sexuality long afforded to men, helping normalize the idea that women's sexual histories were not scandals, but legitimate life experiences worthy of open discussion, and exposing how deeply television had suppressed authentic portrayals of adult relationships until guests like Winters forced them into public view. Richard Pryor took this honesty even further, not by teasing boundaries, but obliterating them, turning Carson's couch into a place of brutal confession where stories of drug binges, sex parties, and near-death experiences spilled out with a rawness that left network executives reportedly begging Carson never to ask certain questions again. As comedy historian Dr. James Morrison explained that Pryor's distinction lay in autobiographical authenticity rather than provocation, sharing lived experience, including painful trauma, with a frankness television was never designed to hold, most strikingly after his 1980 freebasing accident that left him burned over much of his body, which he discussed on air with shocking directness, joking darkly about knowing the night had gone too far when you set your face on fire, transforming personal trauma into both comedy and testimony about addiction, survival, and self-destruction, leaving audiences torn between laughter and shock, while Carson balanced admiration for Pryor's honesty with fear of network intervention. Attention Morrison captured by observing that Carson couldn't stop laughing or stop the FCC, as Pryor's unapologetic portrayal of experiences typically excluded from mainstream media, racism, police harassment, addiction, sex brought unheard perspectives to a predominantly white audience, turning trauma into what Morrison called dirty gospel, demonstrating that some truths demanded explicit language and uncomfortable detail, influencing generations of performers by proving that authentic testimony could exist within entertainment without being sanitized into dishonesty. Joan Rivers, meanwhile, weaponized specificity, transforming celebrity gossip into front-stage entertainment by exposing Hollywood's secrets with names attached, roasting her own sex life and plastic surgery while calling out cheating actors directly. As historian Thomas Henderson explained that her revelations were dangerous precisely because they weren't vague hints but specific allegations delivered as first-hand observation from within Hollywood's private spaces, lending credibility that rumor lacked. Statements like seeing stars drop their pants between takes turning whispers into testimony, while Carson's visible discomfort added another layer of tension as he struggled to maintain control, frozen as Rivers kept going, exposing not only individual misbehavior but the machinery of image-making itself, pulling back the curtain on studio cover-ups, manufactured relationships, and the deception behind celebrity personas, naming names despite real risks of retaliation or lawsuits, fostering a more skeptical audience relationship with celebrity culture and anticipating the tabloid and reality television revolutions that would later normalize such disclosures. Zsa Zsa Gabor brought a different kind of honesty, one rooted in unapologetic European frankness that shattered American puritanical pretenses as she cheerfully admitted to 9 husbands and countless lovers with pride rather than shame, treating romance as achievement rather than scandal, flirting openly with Carson, deploying innuendo, physicality, and theatrical timing to communicate sexuality beyond words, touching him, adjusting her clothing, and carrying backstage drama onto the set, creating an authenticity that felt less like an interview and more like a performance of scandal, challenging expectations that women, especially older glamorous women, should downplay desire, and asserting that female sexuality required neither apology nor justification, revealing how broadcast standards reflected cultural hang-ups rather than universal propriety.